Okay, good afternoon, folks. Hope everyone is well. It's okay. I've just took a trade on my funded futures account. I took that short on the chart above, so it came down but didn't quite hit my target. So I'm just holding on a bit here, just to see if it'll come back. It might not. Might continue up. We'll see. Okay, so everyone's okay. Sacred Geometry, how are you doing? FSN, how you doing, buddy? Come on, drop. It's hard to say what's going on at the moment, whether there's a larger channel here, possibly. It's hard to say. I'm hoping we're going to get a bit of a drop now. It's just an evaluation anyway. Come on, drop. Something needs stopping out there, surely. We kind of made a top there, almost like a little double top. We'll see. No, I don't want that to happen. Neil, how you doing? Speedy, how you doing? Daryl, how you doing, buddy? Come on, drop. I might just have to get out of this one. I don't want to risk any more. I thought that might bounce. Okay, see how we get on today anyway. Got my accounts all up and ready. Come on, I don't want to take any more. Got my profit just below here. I took that short because it looked like an overshoot just on an evaluation, and it came back. Didn't quite hit me profit though. See what happens. Trouble is, when you think this one's due for a pullback, it just keeps going up. Come on, there's quite a few weak bull positions there taken. Surely that's going to come down. Let's see. Alrighty. Come on, let's have a little flush down. Such a strong push up, isn't it? Without anything, you'd expect it to have a pullback, wouldn't you? I mean, that's a fair old move up, isn't it? From here, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 points, more or less straight up. That's got to come down. Okay, so we did have some news which caused that spike, really. Do you know what I'm noticing every time on news now? We always seem to spike in the opposite direction that we push up now. So even those OCO orders we used to take, trading evaluations for a quick move, it doesn't seem to just shoot in one direction. It just seems to either pull back and then push up. I'm not quite sure why. It's almost... I think what we're going to have to do is, if I do it again, is put my profits a little bit further away. Trouble is, as soon as I come out of this trade, I guarantee it'll come down. We've got a bit, surely it's overbought, that has got to cool down a little bit. Come on. Oh, I'm quite happy to get out break even, actually. Come on, don't do that now. Let's have a little look. We've broken on this area. We've got to be due for a correction surely after that. We don't often get a move like that without having some kind of correction. Come on. It's hard to know exactly what's going on here. It could be something like that. I'm not really sure. Could be a break. 2 pushes up. I don't know. Come on. Yeah, whenever we curve like that, usually we do get a pullback. Speedy looks really strong uptrend. Yeah, we've got to be due a correction. That's something we got to break. New high. I mean, look at that. It doesn't often do that in that direction without at least having a decent... it's only the valuation anyway. I just wanted to get out break even. It's just an evaluation on my funded futures account. So that's as good as I can see, really. Channel with a break, new high. Okay. Sam, how you doing, buddy? Okay, so break, 2 pushes to a new high. Come down, you bloody thing, come on. I'd like to see this range a little bit here. 27 points on your run here early. Good on you, mate. Good on you. Scout was 14 points, 2 contracts. Lower high, come on. Excuse me just a second. Sorry. It's all right. It's going up. That was it was just Nick watches a stream. He said I got a trade open. You can see it. This thing's just going up. I was open. I had it as an overshoot. Trouble is, once you go so far in these evaluations, I don't know whether you're better off holding on or not. He just messaged me and says, you got a trade open. Yeah. Come on. It's just such a big move up, isn't it? I'm surprised we haven't had a pullback from that. Maybe we'll when we get to this level. Trouble is, he is. Yeah, I chat to him on the phone once in a while. He's from the US, Tampa, I think. But yeah, you notice I had a trade open. It's an evaluation. I'm just pushing my luck here, to be honest with you. But after such a big move there, what it is, see, I had it as an overshoot. I had this and that as an overshoot. So I took a short there and it came back and I thought maybe it might just break that and come back. You know, sometimes with an evaluation, you push it and push it. But we've had a break, 2 pushes to a new high. And that's such a strong move up without a correction. It took me out the trade anyway. I didn't move me. Well, it took me out the trade. I didn't move me stop. Or as it took me out the trade. Hold on a minute. Can I say
order
it?
submitted?
No, I can't. My funded futures. See, I am up on it. If you lose $1,200 on my funded futures, it cuts you out for the day. I'm still $1,200 up. Well. It's done it for me, so let's make sure everything's opening.
Order submitted.
Yes,
order cancelled.
So let's have a look. I don't know. I don't like them when they just keep going and going. I mean, look how strong that is. Got all-time highs up here. But that thing's just going and going. I should learn not to fight the trend. But I had it as an overshoot. So, hey, Nick, how you doing? Yeah, thanks for that call. But yeah, I just had my funded futures evaluation. It's just took me out at $1,200 anyway. I've still got $1,200 on it. But at $1,200... so I had this at that, I think, was it? You know what I'm like, I tend to risk a bit more. I think I had something. How was it I had this? something like that. And it looked, a lot of times when you have an overshoot, it'll make a new high in reverse. So I took a short here and I had my stop down here. And when it pushed higher, I thought sometimes it'll push higher and make a new high and then drop. And you know, sometimes when you get into these things on an evaluation, the trouble is with evaluations, you tend to be I tend to be a lot more risky. And you're thinking after that short move, surely it's due for a correction, and you hold it, and then before you know it. So yeah, I had it kind of like that, and that looked like an overshoot, but there we go. Cheers for that, mate. In fact, I saw your number, I saw your name, and thought, I bet he's going to mention that. I bet he's going to mention that, isn't he? Let's have a look. So there is an area where it may pull back. It's been hard trading the last couple of days, I've got to say. Fortunately, my patience with my evaluations are good and strong. In fact, that to me looks more like a spot. I don't know. I can't get this how I like it. That's not too bad, I think. It's hard to say. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Sometimes these channels are really easy to draw. Other times you just seem to monkey around, messing around, trying to get them to work. I mean, it's weird. Obviously, well, I mean, that was overnight up until 1:30. I mean, look at that. That's just nothing, is it? And then obviously the news shot that down. It seems to do that every time now. It spikes in the opposite direction. It moves. I don't quite know why. Perhaps, well, you think maybe it'll push, chop out, take out some stops, but I can't see any. It didn't push low enough for me. And then up it went, and it's continued up. So I'm just going to mark off time highs. I like to just be aware of where they are. So, extend right. Okay, so where are we? 82, 9202. So we're about 30 points off there. So let's have a look. Yeah, Thomas Wade's got that close. He's got it like that. How does that look? Yeah, that looks okay. Just touching it on the right places. I don't like these trends. I don't know whether it's just the fact, you know, sometimes if something just goes up and up and up and you think that if you take a trade, the higher it goes, the more chance you got of getting a pullback or getting a correction, and that just nerves me. That ATR's low again today. I tend to go for 3 points, so a couple of legs back here. As long as it stays within it, I may. I mean, I've missed out on trades like this before. I think this has got to be due for a correction, and I've left trades like that, and half an hour later we're 25 points further up. So I think what I need to do is just to keep it in mind that a setup's a setup. You can't just assume because we've had a good push up that it's automatically going to break. Trades really are good until the market breaks. So there we go. So one leg back. Let's see what happens here. I may have to adjust my profit at the moment. That ATR is quite low. I think 3 points is probably an ask. So if I got in there, I would have to get in there. It's a fair size move, isn't it? Even if I got in right on the nail here. So I might have to make a judgment call on that and bring it down to maybe something a bit more manageable. 2.5, 10 ticks, something like that. We'll see. So I'm just going to put a trade ready. Now, depending on how you look at this, if this is the top of the channel, we haven't quite got far enough up. So let's see.
Order cancelled.
Good. I know when I first started trading this style, and I looked at, I hated trading ranges, and coming from trading currency, we used a piece of software which sort of picked weak currencies and strong. So it's showing you weak currencies and strong currencies. So if you trade weak currency, strong currency, you get a trend. And we were trend followers. And what I'll say is I probably make less money on trends than I do in ranges now. At ranges, Matt used to say our ranges are easy, short the top by the bottom. Well, that's easy enough if they're bouncing at the same place, but that doesn't always happen. In fact, it rarely happens. So for me, it's a case of finding where I believe the bottom or top to be and waiting for a lower high or a high low. But I do tend to make more money out of ranges than I do trends. And when you kind of start, you think you buy here. Now, trends are good. Obviously, even if you take a poor setup or something a bit risky, just because the fact it's going up, gravity. Well, I say gravity. It's not gravity, is it? It's momentum is on your side. So that's one of the good things about trading a trend. If you're jumping down here, there's no setup here, but more or less every time it comes back to this line, it's pushing up, which is not a recipe for a trade. You still need a setup. One thing I've learned, just because it looks like it's going to continue up, I've given up taking a trade that looks like it's going to go up. It doesn't matter to me how good it looks. It's got to look like a setup. We could have the biggest bar right off the key entry point. If it's only your first entry, I leave it alone. I've learned to do that over the last 3 or 4 years. I don't care how good it is. It has to be a setup, otherwise it doesn't work. And if you follow that, method, obviously you've got to learn to read the markets as well. Of course, you have context. The setup is a small part of it. Context is everything. If the context isn't right, if the context is poor, but it's a second. I remember when I first started, and I had people like Dan saying, "Why are you taking a second entry long in a downtrend?" And because it's a second entry long. So you know what I mean? You do learn. I don't think, this doesn't look right to me. I would be more inclined to do something like that. Let me see if I can't make this work. I don't like how I had it. Because the top's feathering away. So maybe we'll just put it there. That's probably about as close as we can. But I'm going to have to push it up a bit, otherwise it's not touching anything. Okay, so we come in from here. Touch, touch, touch. It's not terrible. It's not fantastic. So we are stacking up a bit here. Let's have a look. How's he got it? Can't see this bit. He's got those two lined, and he's that red bar. So let's have a look if I got that red bar. So he's got these two tops lined. So I think he's got it more like that. I think it's probably right, actually. We have got plenty of touches there. I just don't like the fact that we've got this gap here. So touch, touch. Close enough. Just so where we're barely in now, we'll have to see what happens. It's starting to go a bit sideways, so it may come out. We're at the top of this, what looks like a channel, and we're coming away a little bit. So when it does that, usually I'm expecting it to break. So there's just nothing you can take in here. Not on my chart. In fact, I haven't reloaded my data, so. I'd like to see a couple of legs back here or something, a proper correction. does that do that? Okay. That doesn't look terrible. So at the moment we're still in. Close enough. Close enough. Possibly a second entry long. Yeah, I'm staying out of this at the moment. There's no room to the top. It's starting to go a little bit sideways, so taking a trade here, it's a higher low, possible second entry long, and it may work, but it's sideways. And if I get a trade here, it could trigger me, come back, stop it out, and go sideways. So you can't take that trade. There's no space, for me anyway. I mean, if we come down from here, trade like that, then I would take it. It is kind of on this in the right place, but I've been messing around with this channel. It's not filling me full of confidence. We're clearly working up somehow, but it's just risky here. It could trigger you and then come down. It's going a little bit sideways. So for me, I think there's some uncertainty up here. And I think we may range. We've 1, 2, 3, 4 touches there, touch there, touch. That comes down and takes it out. That thing's floating in the middle of nowhere. That stops vulnerable to me. So I trade like that. It's just got risk written all over it, and that's why. 1 tick below it. So as soon as it starts to go sideways, forget it. You just got to sit tight. No one took that, did they? I hope not. But look, it's, you know, we got a nice big strong trend, nice big bullish bar. What happens? Ticks above it, comes straight down, stops it out. As soon as it goes sideways, you got to sit tight and let it sort itself out. There is a second entry long. Same again, it's vulnerable. We have got some support up here, so this could trigger and come down again. So this is just sitting and waiting time at the moment. Where's my cup of tea? Drink of tea. I was up till 3 o'clock this morning painting the kitchen. I thought we'd have a nice fresh coat of paint in the kitchen. Not a great idea. So what I would be looking for here is a failed breakout. So I think this is likely to go and meet these tops. So second entry long. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for, a failed breakout. 1, 2, 3. If it's sat perfectly on here with a tail out, I'd go for that. But even a couple of legs down, I'm not just going to take anything here, because taking a trade around here is vulnerable. You could tell that by there. That one. If you took that one, whatever you took along here, any of this, it's got stopped out. You know, it's by 1 tick right the way here. So really, for me to be interested in this, it's going to have to drop out of here and then either sit on the top like that with a tail, in which case I would be interested. So let's get
Order
an order
submitted.
ready. So there's another if as well. Depending on how you're seeing that, we may have had a little break here. I don't think so. I think for me, this channel is more, my gut feeling is it may be more like that. In which case the same trade applies. Okay, that's no good for me there. I don't want to take that. Well, definitely not. It's got to drop below here, stop out anything here, and then sit on top of that, or break out completely and look bullish. But yeah, that's the best trade, I think, when it starts to go like this. It's got to get as low as you can, looking bullish at least. Then you've got from the bottom to the top to get out, which at the moment I'd say is probably 3 points. Exactly. So I'll get out a tick or two. If I can get in there, I'll try and get me 3 points. But ultimately, I like to get out where the bodies are, not the tops. On the rare occasion, it'll do that sometimes. It'll tick above. It'll come up to there and turn back down. So hopefully we get a leg and a leg. But there is also a triple test there, 1, 2, 3. So I dare say after such a big move up, you can bet there's going to be some traders trying to pick a top here. thinking that may ride down. So be interesting to see. Obviously the more shorts are in there, the harder it is to get through these areas, but push down sideways, another push down, that would interest me. Let's just zoom out here. That's such a strong move, isn't it, Alice? It's going to have to be a really nice looking setup, otherwise I'm staying out. So there may be a small break and a match in height. It's hard to say. Okay, I'd like this to come down, stop that out. That is a weak position. It's stacked. So I'd like this to come down, stop that out, and that will give us a second entry long. It's trying to push up. Come on, come back. Wow, I didn't expect that. I thought that was a really weak position. More or less an inside bar. It's completely stacked. It hasn't touched the bottom. I mean, that is a perfect example of something that would trigger, come down for a second leg and give us a lovely trade long.
Order cancelled.
That's a shame. I mean, that's strong just to do that and then push straight up through there. So let me just mess around with this chart, see if it is something different. No, I'm not sure. I can't get this how I like it. So I'm just going to put it back for now and assume we've had a break at a new high. So nothing you can do there. You got 4 bars stacked side by side almost perfectly. You can't trade that in my opinion. Not as a Pats trader. Way too risky. I'm really surprised when that ticked above. I thought that's coming down for sure. Leg and a leg. That would have been a beautiful trade there to push up. Because you're going to have traders surely trying to pick a top there. Hoping this thing comes careering down. Okay, break. 1 push. 2 pushes to a new high. Oh, 10, 15, 20, 25, 26, 27 points to all-time highs. Still surprised we haven't had any offers yet from Apex. Okay, most breakouts fail. I wouldn't want to short this in such a strong uptrend. I only tend to short breakouts, so I take breakouts in the direction of the price. This is pretty strong up at the moment. Christ, where's this thing going? Okay, depending on how you look at that, it's a clear breakout. 2 pushes up to a new high. I'm going to run out of computer screen in a minute if it gets any higher. So, 40 points already. Market opened here. It was about there, wasn't it? Maybe a little bit, somewhere about there. So, let's have a quick peek at the daily. Okay, so we had something similar here. Pushed up, didn't we? We had that good pullback, pushed up before it came back again. So maybe this is doing the same. We didn't get that EMA. So it tends to do that, doesn't it? Pulls back, pushes up, and then drops. Pulls back, pushes up, and then drops. So break, 2 pushes to a new high. Now what's going to happen? Okay, just a quick bathroom break. I'll be a quick minute. Okay. So a few people have incorporated this to their don't go out the top. That's not what I want. A few people have changed that. It doesn't look terrible. Let's have a look. Yeah, there's been a few people change to that. He's done it. Thomas Wade's still got it at the moment, but that was 7 minutes ago. So I mean, if the thing keeps going up, what can you do? So we had that kind of break, which we looked 2 pushes to a new high, came back, went up again. So maybe this thing's continuing on up. It's really strong anyway, isn't it? We got all-time highs, 20 points away, 22 points away. Trouble is, when you're constantly adapting your chart, I mean, really, I'd get nervous about 2 legs down here because I'm just not a massive fan of it. It doesn't look terrible, actually. Unfortunately, there was nothing there, really. It's just too dangerous to trade that because we could break below there. And when they're stacked up like that, you just got to stay out. I mean, we do that all the time. Push down, go sideways, push down. Bullish bar here, trapping all the, trapping any shorts from this, ready to stop them out. Any weak positions that have picked up here get stopped out. It's just too dangerous, really, to trade. There's nothing I've seen really that is worth trading. It's too early to trade something like that. Yeah, there's a couple more people got it like that. So now let's see how we fare. I do wonder whether this is more like this. That would be an overshoot. I'm not a fan when we can't get it to fit as well as I'd like. Okay, I'm not 100% sure about that. But that's the general consensus that kind of... yeah, Thomas Wade kind of feels like there's an even wider channel in play, so he's probably right. So there's our first leg down. Now let's see what happens. Trouble is, when we do have a break now, after such a big move up, I wouldn't expect it to break and push straight up. I'd like to see some of this first, and then eventually push up. Yeah, Thomas Wade's got the same thought as me. He had that, and he's looked at that as well, and I think he's right too. It just it's just what I did. Brought it up here initially, so I actually prefer that. I think. Trouble is, if you've got it like that, you may argue there's an overshoot. So I kind of put it back. In fact, someone else has just put that on there as an overshoot. So there may be an overshoot there. It's hard to say. Sometimes when these channels don't fit as well as you'd like, having the confidence to trade them, well, it's not so much having the confidence. I like to know where it's going, or I like to be sure as I can I know where it's going before I think about trading. I just can't trade at the moment. Certainly can't go long at the moment in case there is an overshoot. If there's an overshoot, this thing could have a steeper correction, which means a leg down. We could get another leg down. May sort of bounce, on top of here, a leg and a leg. So I mean, if you put it back to there, there's no overshoot. Maybe what about there? Yeah, trouble is you're missing everything, aren't you? So if I pull that into there, I'm going to leave that there. I think that's probably as good as I've got. So there's a possible second entry long there. I just don't like this. It's not a very good strong bar. It is a leg down with a break. I mean, we could come down for another leg here, so I'm just staying out of this. And depending on how you got that chart, you've got to pay attention that there may have been an overshoot, so we may get a steeper correction. So which may mean as soon as if that thing triggers, it may come down. So yeah, I much prefer ranges. It used to be the other way around. So, here, I think that's Ben, isn't it? I think it's Ben. Is it Ben? Well, let's show us. I think it's Ben. He comes in the stream from time to time, I think. So he's got that as an overshoot. So it looks okay on his chart. So I think you have to be prepared that may be an overshoot. But, oh, there we go. So that triggers come straight down. So as soon as it starts stacking up and that bar loses strength, for me, something's amiss. So, we could put that there, can we? But that is working like an overshoot. So I'm going to pop that there like that. We push up, have a little pullback, touch, touching nice there, and there, and then a little overshoot, which looks like it's caused a little break there. So leg and a leg. This looks like a complete channel to me. So I won't be going long here. Because if this is an overshoot, this is a break. One, we could have a bigger correction, so it could come down further. Two, there could potentially be a full-out reversal. So this is a no-trade zone at the moment. That's, to me, has got risk written all over it. I dare say there'll be traders buying that. It hasn't triggered as yet, but it's just not safe to buy in a downtrend at the moment, regardless of the fact we're pushing up. We have got this trend working down. And we could get a break here and a new low of this trend. So I'm just staying out of anything here. If that triggers, it's risky. You done IO some. Stopped out at 32 points. Oh, bless your little heart, mate. Oh, yeah. That must be tough. Good on you, mate. Good on you. Yeah, you've earned the rest of the day off, mate. Good for you. Let's see if this triggers. I dare say it's going to trigger, but I think that's going to come straight down. We'll see. Yeah, you don't want to be seeing that, do you? That looks like it's a one-way ticket to a loss to me. Good for you, mate. I mean, there is kind of a leg and a leg, but it looks like a channel. We touch. Yeah, 32 points. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. So even on one contract, that's $1,600 made of a $4,000. Good for you, mate. $4,000. That's like 2 months worth, 2 months profit to me on a good month. Good for you, mate. You do well out of the long moves. That's definitely your forte for sure. Good for you. Yeah, I mean, if you can capture something like that, for sure. Where'd you get in? Down here somewhere, did you? 2 legs down here. Oh, absolutely. I'm paying more and more attention to the bigger picture. There was what was the trade the other day that I liked? I can't remember what it was. It was 2 legs back, and then it came. It might have been that one. I can't. No, he doesn't. He is trading slightly different now, isn't he? He's been posting a couple of his trades. After 2 legs down, he's been entering and putting his stop down here. Just me, Mac and Vlad could see, I think. Yeah, it's definitely worth looking at the bigger picture for sure. Zooming out once in a while and seeing what's going on. So both of those bars have triggered. For me, it's risky. You posted it on my Facebook. I'll have a look in a bit later. I did hear a ping somewhere. First chart is on the 15-minute chart. Okay, I'll have a look when I've finished. No, in fact, let's have a look now. Oh, Bitcoin's just hit $100,000 again. So is this now the big push up again? Let's have a look. Bitcoin, $100,000. See, we had a big pullback, but we're up again. XRP is up 12.5% today. Solana's up 6.5% today. ADA's up 10. Avalanche is up 9. SHIB's up 10. TON's up 10. Link's up 8, nearly 9. DOT's up at 11%. HBAR's up 11%. So everything's pushing again. What was I doing? Facebook group. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Where is it? Where is it? Groups. So, right, yeah. So your thought process of taking that was 2 legs down, yeah? Yeah. Do you mind me bringing it into the chart, bud, if you're still there? Do you want me to pop it on the chart a minute? I won't bring it on if you don't want me to. So channel with a break. I expect the price to break below here. We may get a bigger correction after something like this. Possibly a second entry short here. I really won't want to take a short up here at the moment. The market is still strong, but I think that I can't see the market pulling out like that and pushing straight up. It would have done it by now. It has triggered it. It's triggered 2 bars there. So my gut feeling is this one will trigger. It may touch that EMA and come down below there. The trouble is that there's always a possibility we could bring this out a bit more, I think. Okay, 2 legs up, second entry short here. I wouldn't take a short myself personally, but I expect that to get stopped out and that. But it's such a strong market, you just never know. But if I took that or that, I'd expect to get stopped out. Okay, there's the first one, and there's the second one. Okay, see, after this, whether it is an overshoot, we've got to have a bigger correction. It ain't going to break out like that and push straight up. It just doesn't happen after such a big move. So positions like that are just easy pickings, really. So channel break, new low. Still got to be wary about taking longs here. I want to see a decent correction, something like that, really, before I maybe even down as far as that. I'd want to see something like this. I would personally, something like that. and that for a new high somewhere along those lines. There is some support along there, so maybe a bounce here, leg and a bounce here, and then eventually working its way up. I say eventually because usually after such a big channel up, when we do have a break, we usually take the scenic route up, which means stopping out a load of long orders just in a little bit too early. So channel break, new low, still too risky to go long here really. Come on, move out of the way, I want to delete that bar. So I'd like to see something like that. Couple of pullbacks and then another, the second part of the correction. Not had a trade this week. Not on my accounts. What day is it? Was it Wednesday today, isn't it? Wednesday, yeah. I don't know, even on one trade a week and one loss out of the 4 trades, still $1,000 a week. Sorry, a month. So there's still plenty of money to be earned. Yeah, I noticed Penguin's been trading a little different lately. He's been putting some of his live trades slightly different than he normally does. Okay, there's nothing I can take here until it starts to get down here a second time, and then I might catch it on its way back up. So I'm going to take this opportunity to make a quick cup of tea while it's doing not a lot really. Another trap there. I'd like to see it come up a little bit higher and then come down, trap out some more and come down for a second. So we've got a channel here with a couple of pushes up. I'd like it to get a little bit higher, take that stop out there and then come down for a second leg. So I'm just going to make a quick cup of tea while it's doing nothing. And then I will be back in about 3 to 5 minutes. Okay. Okay, so we pushed up and stopped that out. That's what I was expecting. So channel break, new low, 2 pushes up. I want it to come down now for that second leg. We'll see. After this, I'll be surprised if it just does that unless there's a wider channel. Kind of a higher low there, which hasn't triggered. I didn't expect that. Now we're going to get this second pull back. So I'd like to see that type of correction, leg and a leg. Okay, excuse me a second. I've just got a parcel at the side for me a second. Sorry about that. Okay, let's have the second leg of this correction. If we can get 2 legs down here, some here, I'll take a long here. I love that type of trade. So let's put that there. Let's see if we can get something like that. So there'll be some stops there, I don't doubt it. There's a higher low there. That'll go maybe down here as well. So anybody who's sort of got in premature, so if anybody took that low or high, I dare say they probably would have done. Trouble is, after a break like that, with such a strong move up, it never just pushes straight up. I'm not saying never, but the only time it usually does is if it ends up being in a wider channel. But such a strong move, you always have a bigger correction. So I always avoid these. These are the trades I used to get caught out. Well, I think a break, bullish bar, higher low. Why doesn't it work? But after such a move, usually a correction is a much better option. And after a couple of clear bigger attempts, getting into a long down here at the lowest part. I don't know if anybody took that. I think most people are wise to it now. Let's have a look. Come on, let's get that push down. There's obviously a second scenario. It could start to go sideways. Took the failed second entry short. Yeah. Just, I can't do that at the moment. My worry is we come down for this second leg. Just for a point, yeah. I don't not going for a point. I mean, if it's a good setup, even though it may not have a lot of space to go, I think sometimes you've still got to take it. You shouldn't turn your nose up at any amount of money, really. But yeah, just it concerns me here that we come down for this bigger correction. I mean, it could go sideways. It could still go up. But after such a strong move, it rarely just does that. And usually it kind of picks up weak positions. If you'd have took something like that higher low, you think we've pushed above the, you may take a higher low, goes up a point, comes down, stops you out. In fact, I don't even think it went up a point, did it? If you went a tick above it, which is about there, you wouldn't even got out with a point. You'd have to push to 1.25 to push through it. So it's quite a bit short and then comes straight down, stops you out. So although we've had a Chandler break and a new low, there are going to be traders who buy those. I know I used to buy them myself, and then you wonder why you get stopped out. And same with these as well. I used to buy them. I used to think we've had a break. We've got a nice bullish bar here. Trigger just stops you out. Actually, if you didn't take that one, you might have took that one. And then if you took that one as a higher low, triggered, you came straight down, stopped them all out. Someone else is in a trade here as well. They've got a different bar. Yeah, I can see it. It just concerns me. We have this. We have the we have this second leg down, or this second leg of a correction. Unless there's something wider, which I don't think there is. At first glance, there's nothing I can see that would even resemble something slightly larger. There's a higher low there. Let's see if that stops and comes down. That, to me, is a risky position. It's off that EMA, but you just never know how strong the market is. But I'm still thinking about this possible second leg of a correction. I mean, if we can get below there and below here, then we may get it down, but you just never know what's going to happen. But someone's in a trade there to get out at 88.50. Let's have a look. 88.50, which is here. I'll be worried about that personally. But you never know, do you? Oh, where's it gone? There. My gut is we may have this second leg down. That's what concerns me. There was nothing on my bar anyway, really. The failure. I always like to trap a short here, a good enough short. On my other chart, it didn't look too bad. I'd still like this bigger correction, this kind of second leg. We'll see. It could come up to here and then start to go sideways. So that bar there is triggered. For one, after that push up is quite steep. I much prefer kind of a leg and leg to get up. We've had a break and pushed up quite steep, so I don't know. These are just the way I trade, my thought process before I get in. My concern is getting in here that we have this second leg down. Kirk, how you doing, buddy? You're long on a failure, are you? Yeah, I think Brandt took it, didn't he? Third trade, 1 loss, 1 win so far this morning. Good on you, mate. Nothing for me. In fact, I haven't taken anything for 3 days. Took a trade yesterday on the valuation, but screwed up this morning. The thing is, if I take a trade, I get 3 points. So even 2 trades in a week, still over that's $2,500 in a month. Let's take $600 off that for a couple of losses. That's an 80% win rate, and $1,800 per account. So that's just at trading two in a week. So okay, is this going to give us this correction? try not to watch the trade. Yeah. So this correction would take us down to, excuse me, the bottom of here if it works. Let's have a look on the 10,000 tick chart. Stop it. It's on till the afternoon. Yeah, after that break, it rarely just pushes straight up. Usually, it takes, the best way to describe it, takes the scenic route. And that's such a strong move. I'd expect a correction. It doesn't often just break and push straight up. Usually, it messes around first, which is why I always avoid getting in there. Certainly there, straight away, traps written all over them. You know, first break, sort of inexperienced traders taking them straight down, stopped them out. That one went up for 3/4 of a point, straight down, stopped them out. That higher low there, I don't know how much the failure went up. It depends where you took the failure, but you wouldn't have got 2 points. Depending, you would have had to push through. That one triggered, stopped out. That one triggered, stopped out. So traders thinking, yeah, we're getting close. We're going to be pushing up to the top. And all of a sudden, it triggers them, comes down, stops all those out. I expect it to break below there, but I'd like to see a proper push down, and then I'd be looking for. Now, I'm not sure whether it's gone up too far for a correction for me to jump in here, but we'll see. I'd like it to come down in a couple of legs itself. So whatever you took here, let's see if you took that one on the failure. I wouldn't have taken it on mine. If you took that one on the failure, about a tick above it, which is about there, it would have to push to there to push through 2 points. But I'm just cautious because I'm expecting that any time. It pushed up enough for some people to get a point or a couple of points or a point and a half, wherever you got out of there, depending on where you got in. But then straight down below them all. So a little pullback and then down below this lot. Coffee. So if we can get a nice measured move followed by a really nice bullish bar there, I'll buy that. That's a typical trade. The gorilla used to take 2 nice corrections after a strong move up. Nice bullish bar here, right on the bottom. It used to work lovely. And if you can get something down here, maybe a few ticks off the bottom, you know, the potential there is 9 points. And usually you'd expect that to beat the high. So, you know, yeah. 3 points, in which case would be ample. I'd be out before we even hit the EMA, I think. But under certain circumstances, I'd be interested in going along. And once my accounts or my drawdown stopped on all my accounts now. Drawdown stops at 5,100 when you're over 26. All my accounts are over 26. There's a couple at 3,000, one over 3,000, a couple at 2,600. So, you know, if you get a small enough risk off the bottom, if you can take a small risk off here of, say, 1.5, after something like that, it's worth holding it, because once that drawdown stops, it doesn't matter whether it goes up 10 grand and comes down 10 grand and stops you out. Drawdown doesn't go any higher. So leg, and then eventually up somewhere kind of like I've drawn, but you get the idea. So this would be a perfect penguin style trade, leg and a leg, after maybe an overshoot or a break. Identify 2 moves on the break, then I'll look for a new high, second entry above the EMA. At least I got some logic happening, yeah. It didn't work this time. You know, a lot of traders go in at, say, I'm going to buy at a certain level or something at a certain level. We trade quite differently here. We don't get in at certain levels. Now, obviously, you know, that works for some people. But I like the fact that I can trade in pats. I can be almost certain that my trade's going to work, as kind of certain as you're going to be. And I don't ever seem to hear about traders trading any other type of strategy where they say that. they go, I'm going for so-and-so points now. I have a, 60%. Risk one, go for two. I have a 50% win rate or something like that. They tend to get in and, I hear some traders, they can have a red month. And I'm thinking, for a Pats trader, it's unusual to have a red day. Well, not unusual, but as a Pats trader, you wouldn't expect to have a red week, let alone a red month. Context, yeah, absolutely. That's why I love Pats. It's a lot more straightforward. There's kind of less hit and hope. I'm not suggesting people trade the hit and hope method. There are people who obviously do, but from a Pats point of view, if I get on a trade, I can be almost certain that it's going to work. Obviously, if it's good enough. But certain trades, there are lots and lots of trades that I've taken that I would, bet my hind legs that they weren't going to fail, and they just don't. Which kind of seems a bit odd as a trader. You kind of think you'd never at that level where you just know it's going to work. The only reason that it may not work is if something kind of happened in the news and price was affected momentarily. So if we can touch this and then get down, leg and a leg, and bounce here, nice bullish bar. And often when you do get a bounce here, that bullish bar is quite small risk, strangely enough. And often it will push up. So now my drawdowns are at 5,100. I could potentially do that. You state again, what kept you out of that failure above the EMA? That one there. Because we've had such a strong move up. I mean, this is a big enough move in itself, isn't it? It's quite a strong channel. And the smaller the channel, the smaller the break. Small channel, break new low. Small channel, break new high. But the bigger the channel, the bigger the break. And after such a big move like that, sure, we've had a break. And there's bullish bars there. But I'd expect a bigger correction after such a big move, or I call it a bigger break. I heard someone described it as it takes the scenic route. So the bigger the channel up, I expect a proper correction. The smaller the channel, break new low. So just basically bigger channel, bigger break. It doesn't always work, but it stops me getting into trades like this and getting into trades around this area, because I am expecting. Now this looks like it's going up. You can bet your bottom dollar there's going to be traders taking them, and look, all of a sudden we're straight through all those stops. So if you sit here long enough day after day, you do start to notice things, don't you? Most of you know that. So I'm expecting this, and I do watch the Penguin a lot as well, and this is his bread and butter. 2 clear attempts. We had one a couple of days ago. That one there, we had that big strong move down there, didn't we? And then we had that an absolutely beautiful correction, almost to the tick. So we got leg up, 2 legs back, leg up, and look at it push then. After this, a really big move down, however you want to look at this. Lovely move down, beautiful correction. It didn't just break and come straight down. It's such a big, it did this. And when it does that, it kind of just picks off weaker positions, doesn't it? So it's just, you notice it. But that is a perfect Penguin-style trade. So, but I would have to have close to a couple of measured legs here. So we've got a channel with a break, 1, 2 pushes. If we can get a nice bounce here, it'll be on support as well. You watch, I'll take a trade and lose it now, but it's irrelevant really. It's my setup. And really on a bigger chart, it's just a second entry long, 2 legs back, which is exactly what a second entry long is. So in fact, look at the 10,000 tick chart. That's what I mean on a bigger chart, leg and a leg. It's a second entry long, really. 1545 on my chart. What's that? 1545. You're on about here, aren't you? Yeah. The failure I stayed out of. Yeah, just is that what you meant? Was it? Because I'm expecting this bigger correction to clear all this out, so I didn't want to get in here. Yeah, I didn't want to get in here because I expected this correction after such a big move. Market just rarely breaks and pushes straight up after such a big move. Small channel break, small channel, small break, small channel, small break, small channel, small break, big channel, bigger break. So channel down, possible second entry short here. I'm still bullish at the moment, so spread the bars out. Yeah, it's just, you're on about going to go long here. Yeah, I wouldn't want to go long here, see, regardless. I mean, I go for 3 points. So there's nothing for me to trade here. Where's your failure? There's your failure. There's just nothing for me to buy here. It's not attractive at me at all because I'm still expecting this back. It may not even got up that high. I'm just expecting this pullback. You're on about for a short, are you? You're on about for a short? Yeah, someone's just got in along here. There is support there, really. Yeah, someone's just taken a trade here long. Channel down. I'll be expecting a second entry short to break below there and get down to this. You're on about that, surely, aren't you? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got you. Okay, so second entry short, I'd have preferred it to break above there, but I think this is going to push down below there. It is a triple test, so it may work. But for me, I'm looking for this bigger correction. So with that third bounce, I dare say there's going to be, well, I know for a fact someone bought there. He's in that trade. He took the bounce there. But my gut feeling is this is going to come down for this bigger correction. And if it does push down there, past there, it may come lower. We'll see if it triggers. But yeah, I mean, that's enough messing around after a break to push up. But I'd want to clear all this out before I went long. Okay, channel down. Right, drop. Come on. Second entry short. Drop down below this. Or another penguin style trade break. One attempt to go higher. Second attempt to go higher. A failure. I've channeled it. I'd love to see that come down. But it is working like a range now and it is bouncing off there. But I want this to come down, break below this area here to give us that decent correction. Someone said they'd take a fail second entry short here. I wouldn't. There's two channel down. There's two legs up. For me, this is coming down below here. That's what I anticipate just by looking at this. Now that's just my thoughts, and it doesn't always work. But I'd like to see a bigger correction. It's not enough for me that after such a big strong move up. So I'd like to see this come down. But if this finishes bullish, it's going to take some traders long. But I'm just staying out. You get used to the context and what suits you and what you like. And this just doesn't look right to me. It's got to break below there, this lot for me. But I tell you, there will be traders getting in long here if that finishes bullish with a failure. I just can't do it. Having said that, there's another penguin trade. Sometimes it'll have two legs back and it'll push up. Sometimes it can have a break and have two legs up and it'll fail down. Okay, there is a failure there, but I'm just staying out of it. It's right in the middle of this range for a start. It hasn't triggered yet. You've got to go with what feels right, haven't you? And this doesn't. It hasn't triggered anyway. The reason I think we'll have this correction is we didn't get close to the highs. And I think the buyers are going to be below this level to push that higher. Now, I could be talking a load of crap. Do what's right for you, but I've just been in these scenarios before, and it just... I'd like to see this bigger correction. So, it is holding. Still don't like it though. Yeah. See, if it's ranging, you are trading right in the middle, which that might be okay. But I don't have to think about things now. I tend to get used to how the market works, and I either like it or I don't, and that one just doesn't feel right to me. Second guessing it, yeah. I don't tend to think so much now. I just tend to do what feels right. I either like it or I don't. Not only that, it is a penguin style trade. We could have a break, 2 attempts to push higher, and it could fail. So we'll see. But even if it does work, it doesn't bother me in the slightest. I'm absolutely 100% happy with that. I just don't like how it's working. It went up there, break new high. We've kind of had the same there. Look, I have a feeling, and I either like it or I don't. We've had a break there and a new high. So this, to me, going along here, in my opinion, for me, is just way too early. I want to get in long down here after a proper correction. Thomas would take it either. I haven't seen his chart anyway. You just get used to knowing how the market works, and we've had a big break, 2 pushes up, and we've come down strong. So I'd like to see this proper correction, leg and a leg. I've been in trades like this before, and you're in, and all of a sudden, woof, down it comes. No, he hasn't taken it. Now, that's a trade ordinarily he would have taken, because the setup's nice, but the context is wrong for me. Yeah, see, he's not taken it. But, you know, we've had this break. We've already had a push-up, and we've come back. The context is okay, because there's a hidden second entry short, which is triggered. I wouldn't want a short here, and I wouldn't want a long here, and it has gone up a bit, but he hasn't taken it. I think you get a feel for it after a while. You're in short, yeah. See, I wouldn't want a short or long here at the moment. The trade for me is a long trade down in this area down here, if it works. Now, you never know. It may come up to the top, it may come down the bottom, it could do a bunch of stuff. And it could completely fail and come down. We've had a break. It could be 2 attempts to push higher, and then it could fail and come back down. You imagine how many stops are going to be here and here and here. And sometimes it does just work, but that doesn't ever bother me. I kind of go with, I think after a while, that gut feeling and that instinct and just experience. That gut feeling and that experience really guides you after a while, doesn't it? You follow the numbers and you count initially, but after a while, you're just looking for what it looks like. So there'll be stops there, I don't doubt. There'll be stops there and down here, and it may work. Sometimes the slower it goes up, the quicker it comes down. You got stopped, yeah. I wouldn't want to. And I won't be surprised if it stops that out and then comes down, but I wouldn't want to go long or short here at the moment. But you have got to do what's right. Really, you shouldn't listen to anybody else. I've tried doing that before. It didn't work. You've got to do what's right for yourself, really. That's how you kind of learn. There's definitely a battle going on, isn't there? I hate it when it goes really slow. Sometimes it'll go slowly up and then woof, down it'll come. So someone's in here with profit out up here. If I was going to take a trade, I think I would probably take one off the bottom to get that second leg up. Protecting my PAs from myself. Yeah, you got to look after your PAs, haven't you? They're your bread and butter, really. I'm much more careful with them now. Shut off, yeah. I have a little button on mine that I can just hit to stop trading, and it will do. That button there, if I hit that, it'll ask me, do I want to stop trading? And it will block me then for the rest of the day. I don't feel I need it so much now, but there had been a time where I did for sure, yeah. See, it's struggling, isn't it? If it comes down below there, that's at risk, and if that's at risk, I'd still like to see this. Couple of legs up and then down, so it's like a correction is leg down, 2 attempts up and then leg down. So leg, 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 and then down. And this is a penguin failure, isn't it? Break, 1 attempt to go higher, 2nd attempt to go higher. Usually he'll take this when it pushes below that, or if he takes the trade and posts it, I'll show you. But he's got 2 kind of ways of trading when we leave a channel. 2 attempts to push lower and along there when it pushes above the EMA to the highs, and an opposite one with a break, 2 attempts to push higher with a short below that EMA to get out before the lows. He's really, if you don't watch him, He's really good at reading the markets. He started posting a few of his live trades as well. He started trading a little different on a couple of them, and he comes over as the type of trader that just doesn't lose, man. He's very competent. He reads those charts like the back of his hand. So I'd like to see price come down below there. Below there. And then below here. Read of the market. It is impressive, isn't it? Yeah, seems to know exactly. Yeah, he does. Now, I think really anybody could make up bullshit, but when you know a little bit about trading and how the markets work, you can tell he knows what he's talking about. But he trades. Penguin is very similar to Pat. It's just slightly on a larger scale. But I traded a little bit of Penguin where we have 2 small legs. Something, let's say, something in here. We have 2 small legs and a long ear. And it's almost, I've seen Mac mark some of the trades. So it's almost identical, really. It's just slightly on a larger scale, but it's just an extra sort of dynamic. It's an extra string to your bow, if you like. So I think any kind of skill that you can learn that'll help you. That's what I'm looking for within that second leg down. Fast food door. Screws it up. Yeah, he knows what he's doing, doesn't he? He's very good at reading the markets. I wish he'd live stream. I'd pay to watch him, to be honest with you. It's very knowledgeable. Mind you, I suppose, I don't know how long he's been trading for. You'd think quite a few years. I think we all get to the stage where we get, but I mean, I read the markets much better than I used to. And one of the things you notice when you do read the markets better is you get trapped a lot less. I don't often get trapped now. I used to all the time, and it used to infuriate me But if you are kind of new and you are getting trapped, it's a great way of learning not to get trapped. And when you're new as well, that eagerness to want to take a trade, that impulse, it's kind of hard to ignore. You're just so eager to want to get there, and you think the only way I'm ever going to make money is if I take more trades. And you kind of got to go through all that learning curve, haven't you? I've enjoyed it. I have. It's been hard at times, and I've had months and months where I find it's affected my mood. It's made me more miserable at home. I felt down. I felt lack of control. I kind of felt like I expect a real addict to feel, maybe a gambling addict or an alcoholic, just completely out of control and down and frustrated. I've had moments where I felt really low, and I have considered giving it up. But fortunately, I'm one of the lucky ones. After a couple of days, when something goes wrong, I can kind of bounce back with a vengeance. I can kind of put it into context, and I try and get something positive out of it. Every time something goes wrong, I try and get something positive. Okay, so we've broken that bar there. Let's see what happens now. I'm good at devil's advocate. I need to move. Enter. Yeah. Yeah. It's not easy, is it? It's not easy. It's a work in progress, isn't it? So we've got above that now. So we've got a break, 2 attempts to push higher. Let's see what this happens. I mean, it may push up. I mean, we've had enough of a move outside to push up. I'd have just preferred a slightly bigger correction to give me the confidence to get in, because I've been in trades like this before, and all of a sudden the thing just comes rocketing down and you wonder what the hell happened. So after such a big move, I mean, it has had a fair size move before it pushes up, but it's a strong market today, so you never quite know. I had a think. Yeah, I'm guilty of that myself sometimes, but I'd rather, if you have a process. See, someone said to me, "You're thinking too much," in a comment a couple of months ago, and I went, "I'm not really thinking." Well, this is, we all, when we're driving down the road, and you're driving down a motorway or a freeway or whatever it is, you're driving at 70 miles an hour. You got the steering wheel in your hand, but you're not thinking about steering, are you? That just happens automatically. And all I'm doing is, when I talk, I'm just thinking out aloud. This is not the things I've got to go through every time I think. It happens in the back of your head without you even really noticing. You're just making little calculations. But I've always been a type of person where I like to think out aloud. I've been walking down the streets and I've had someone jog past me with a grin on the face because I've been talking to myself. But it's just how I process things. I find if I talk out loud, it kind of helps me listen a bit more. So it's not that I overthink everything, purposely. It's just kind of my process. We've all got a process, and you just have to kind of find what works for you. And one shoe kind of doesn't fit all. Okay, so we've had that break, and we have made a new high. My gut feeling here, this thing was come launching down. So what the hell's going to happen now? It's better. Absolutely. I don't know. Is there something larger there? Quite possibly. I mean, with that, this thing could go on and on. We've got all-time highs up here, so I mean, you could put a measured leg there. Whether it'd work or not, I don't know. But this thing just wants to go up, doesn't it? So break, new high. We're going to go now. So we're about 20 points off all-time highs again. Bitcoin 101,000. Yeah, XRP up 18% again. XRP's had a really good run. XRP, Solana have had really good runs this year. It was 12 months ago. I could have bought Solana at $8. I bought it at 18 and sold it at 23. And now it's 230. I always felt good about Solana, but I just didn't have the confidence just to sit and wait and hold. So, a correction and off again. So, it's a correction. It's not quite the deepest correction. I wanted it to break below these and give us a full measured move, but it didn't. It bounced here a couple of times. My only concern there was going long off here because we had a channel with a break. Now, you could say there's a small break and a new high, but it's negligible. So my concern was this was going to come down and a new low from this and then give us that fall, which is why I stayed out of that, because although it's gone up very slowly, and sometimes the slower these things go up, the quicker they come down, which is why I avoided something like that. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad setup, it's just not something I was prepared to do, thinking about what the context can do. But I've never ever got an issue with losing a trade. Does not bother me in the slightest. It just means I've stuck to my rules if I leave the trade alone. So, what's going on now? Are we going to get another leg up? I wouldn't be shocked. Studying parent to run a Bitcoin node. Yeah, I've heard of those. I know a guy who got involved in one. I don't know too much about them, to be honest with you. My crypto limit as well, the technological side of it, is I got into Bitcoin about 3 years ago, just as it was coming to the top, which is the wrong time to get in, obviously. But you do learn. So next bull run, should we get one the same, I'll be better prepared. But I did. I had 40 Solana at once. I bought them for $18 each and sold them, I think, for 23. It was it was a bit of money. If I had 40 now, well, 10 of them, that'd be worth $8,000. $8,000. Over 8,000, 9,000, something like that. I tell you what I do follow that's really accurate, very accurate. Find his name. I've just monitored lots of his trades. Where is he? Yeah, this guy I tend to follow. Lives in Dubai at the moment. I think he's originally from. He's got a New Zealand accent. But he looks like a bit of a yeti at the moment. But he tells you where he puts his entrance and exits, and he's really accurate. So I tend to watch him a lot. So this thing looks like it just keeps wanting to go up. So if we can get a break here and a second entry long, there is a break and a new high. But this is pushing up like it's meaning to go up some more. So if we can get a second entry long, unfortunately, there's nowhere in there really. You can't get in here, in my opinion. There's just nothing there, nothing here, nothing here. And when we've had that big push up, you never know when it's going to recover. Sometimes it'll push like that from news and recover it all within 10 minutes. Other times it will kind of bounce and work up. But unfortunately, really, depending on how you've got this, after that, we don't quite come back to the EMA, really. So getting in here is a bit of a no-no. Nowhere in here. We got a break here. Those got picked off pretty quickly. Eventually, this worked, the triple test, but there's just not a lot of trades here. You tend to think trading trends is easy, but it's not always the case. I did look into mining crypto at one point, but by the time I was sort of ready, prepared to start to pick up a few GPUs, the price of electric went through the roof. And it wasn't worth it in the end. I don't know whether it's worth it nowadays. Obviously, you know, they take, you know, I was going to buy 5 GPUs and they're quite pricey at the time because every man and his dog was picking them up to mine. You can get GPUs pretty cheap now. They're probably a third of the price they were at the high point. Because obviously the market was flooded with GPUs because everyone was buying them to mine, and then when you know the price went up of electric, everyone was selling them then and not buying more. Do you really? Do you still mine it now? Do you? They're not too bad. I don't know what a kilowatt is in the UK at the moment. I'm guessing it's about 27-30 pence, something like that. I think. I don't know, is it still worth it doing it at the moment? Obviously, you know, you've got equipment running 24 hours a day, which obviously, you know, you've got to pay for electric, unless you've got some kind of a solar panels or something that can pay it for you. I don't know if it's worth it anymore. I know GPUs are cheap at the moment. But I went onto a website, which a friend of mine told me about it, and I went onto a website and you put in your GPU in your system, put in what you're paying per kilowatt, and it tells you what you could potentially mine. And I think I was looking at a few GPUs, which would have made me something like about £6 or £7 per day. Well, that's 7 days a week, isn't it? And for nothing, well, with the outlay, initial outlay, obviously. It was worth doing, but then everything went sky high, didn't it? Electric, gas, fuel, petrol, diesel went through the roof. I know at one point in the UK we were paying £2 per litre. It's about £1.35 now. We're talking 3-4 years ago, £2 per litre. Trading studio, the miner use, Pure coffee pot uses, yeah. I might look into it again. I'll look at some of the websites that give you a breakdown. You put in what equipment you're using and what your price, your electric price is. But I think the thing about mining Bitcoin is, yeah, it's expensive at the moment, Bitcoin, but it will come down eventually. You know, I think it was about $67,000 at the top of the last bull run, and then it came down to about 15. So. Obviously we're not at the top yet, you would probably tend to think, but obviously, you know, maybe the second part of next year prices will start to come back down, so it's kind of like the equivalent of dollar cost averaging, isn't it? Mining at the high point and at the low point, you're kind of following what everything's doing. This thing just does not want to come down, does it? Where the hell's it going? This looks very strong, this market, doesn't it? So we are 16 points from the top. This thing looks like it's continuing on. So if we can get an entry here, I may take it. It's very strong, isn't it? And this next channel, usually we get a steep channel, not so cheap, and then it goes sideways. But then we're off again quite steep. So that ATR is extremely low, so I'm going to have to reduce my profits. If I get into a trade here, I think 3.5 points or 3 points, 3.25 points is probably a bit of an ask. Because you never know after this when we're going to have a break. If this is going to continue up, I doubt it'll do it in a tightest channel that we had tight and then it widened up. So we could, you know, get maybe a couple of legs down, maybe a break, and then kind of widen up somewhere. You know, something like that. A couple of legs down. So getting in here is worrisome to get much higher without kind of a correction. I was mining when it was 10 or 20 bucks. That makes me 97 years old. I was watching a program the other day where Bitcoin was 20 cents. And straight away you start to work out, okay, if I bought $100, what would I make if I bought $1,000? If it's phenomenal, isn't it? 20 cents per Bitcoin. Now it's over $100,000. 20 cents. Mind you, it was probably hard to get Bitcoin then. I mean, it's pretty easy to sign up to an exchange. Back then, it was quite a lot different. If you could just get yourself a few, buy even $10 or $20 worth just for the hell of it, you could be sitting pretty. Having said that, you'd have sold it a long time ago. Maybe once it made a couple of hundred or a couple of thousands, you certainly wouldn't buy it for 20 cents and wait and assume it was going to eventually hit $100,000. As I'm sure, you listen to people like Michael Saylor, who does know what he's talking about, and, he tends to fully, but he just buys up billions of the stuff. He fully believes it's going to hit $1 million at some point in the future. So if I was a young guy now, if I was a young 18-year-old guy now, I'd wait for Bitcoin to take a bit of a dump, come midpoint next year, and then start to buy it regularly instead of putting it into a pension. That's what I do as a young lad again. But I'm not so young anymore, 55 now. So my Bitcoin investing days long term are probably over, I think. In fact, I put £10,000 into my daughter's bank account about 6 months ago, and I did have a conversation with my wife, should we put it into Bitcoin and try and make a little bit more for her? My wife said do it. I said no, because it's money I want to give to her, and there's always a risk with crypto, and I would hate to put that in and for something to go wrong with crypto. You don't know what's going to go, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, so we left it in the end. At the time, I think Bitcoin was around about $42,000, and as we know, it's at least doubled, but you just never know. If I'm risking my own money, it's a different story, but this is money I wanted to give to my daughter. So I decided against it, and I'm happy with it. It would have made some money, but there you go. Come on, come back. Just can't do nothing with this. Yeah, it's just a shame we didn't get below there. I mean, there's your correction, but that second leg wasn't as big as the first leg. And getting in here, I thought this may push through, bounce on here, clear out a bunch of stops here, and give us a full measured move down, which is why I stayed out here. Because ultimately, you never know what it's going to do. I did mention it could continue up or it may come down, but you've got to, read the market and make your decisions based on what you're seeing and what you think usually happens or is likely to happen. There is a possibility of a larger channel up there. I think it's quite likely. I'll say I think it's a bit irrelevant at the moment. .6 points that run up on a sim. It's so you just start trading a sim, everything seems to work well. Well, it's fitting nice there. There's no argument. We want a couple of legs down. I'd like a break though. If this is going to continue up, I wouldn't expect it to continue up that steep without having a correction and a wider channel. Yeah, I think in all honesty, the measured move may be from here. Well, having said that, if we end up here tonight, the measured move will have probably been from here to there. That would mean us possibly getting that high. The way this thing's going, I wouldn't be shocked. That's another 125 points. That might be a bit of an ask, but you never know, do you? Stranger things have happened. It's only 15 points above all-time highs, so maybe. This thing does not want to come down. It hasn't even at the bottom of the channel. See how tight it is. It's working in this top tier at the moment, isn't it? Hey Jan, how you doing, buddy? You've just come in? Have you just started, or you been there for a while? It's hard to trade this, really. It's nowhere near the bottom of the channel. It's nowhere near the EMA. You just never quite know when this is going to turn down, do you, for a break? One trailer about an appointment got you. Late night shopping for me. My daughter's talked me into it. Late night shopping in the where I live on Wednesday nights, open to 9 o'clock. It's probably normal time for a lot of places. It's not actually as much as you think, is it? That ATR is so low. It's only 51 points. Yeah, that for breakfast sometimes. It just looks a lot more, doesn't it? It looks a lot more, but so that ATR has been really low lately. I want a break, I do, and a slightly wider channel. Okay, excuse me just a second. I have to quit bathroom break. Okay, let's have another leg down. Come on, be fair, be fair, be fair. Adult entertainment, maybe only fans. They make some money. I was watching somebody else. In fact, I'll tell you what I did see the other day. What's his name? Brolin? Is it Brolin? Josh Brolin, the actor. He was a day trader for a while. So there was something I saw on YouTube. He said he made more money day trade than he did acting. I think that was probably before he came properly famous. Okay, so I mean, this is a strong market, but I'd like to see a break in a wider channel. Just looking at this, actually, I'm just not. I'm concerned here because we've had a really steep, then we feathered off a bit, a correction push. So my gut feeling is this is going to have a bit of a correction and a wider channel. Now, I said that about the last time, and we eventually did. But that is a second entry long, but that ATR is so low. Stripping this on professional apps. It's been a profession that's been around for donkey's years. So there is a second entry long there. There's just, I don't know. I'm just not a fan at the moment. Having said that, I mean, there's only a point and a quarter to the highs. It's only 4 ticks at the moment. So I don't know. Maybe that might. I'd like to see a break here and a correction. It is kind of capping off. Okay, yeah, that's what I wanted. So a couple of legs and then a slightly wider channel, hopefully. See, on my other chart, it's looking like a channel. We'll see. Keep an eye on that. Okay, it is a second entry long, but I'm not a fan of this. This is a bit sideways to me. No support level, yeah. As I say, I'd like to see a correction. This thing looks strong and it looks like it may continue on up, but I wouldn't expect it to do in such a small channel. We had something not quite as large as, well, a little bit smaller, but then we feathered off, didn't we? So I would expect a bit of a correction here, a couple of legs, and then maybe something wider. Somewhere along those lines, something like that. That's kind of what my thought process is. But we're in a channel at the moment. I would expect it to break the highs. But let's see what happens. Excuse me. He's long, is he? What's it's been? Nice guy, Nutties. What's it's been getting battered lately, isn't he? Ever since he's not been able to trade without a stop, he's struggling to make money. Alpine. Looking for a new high, yeah. Trouble is, at the moment, this to me, on my other chart, is a little channel. So I'd like to see something like that, which would get me in. Something like that. Somewhere along those lines. That's what I like. Whether I'll get it or not is two different things. So technically a second entry long, you can say, by the count. I would prefer triple test though, or another leg. Patience is a virtue. My patience is better than it's ever been. I always thought I'd struggle with patience. I thought that would be my weakest point. But it's one of my stronger ones now. £200 pairs this year. Nice guy, Nutty is. I've talked to him quite a bit in the past. Friendly guy. For a ginger. I had to say that, didn't I? No, he's a nice bloke, he is. Right, it's a case of another channel, fair-sized channel. I'm struggling with chicken close behind. That's kind of like I have my 3 points now. I set my 3 points and then basically let it go, unless it goes sideways, and then, you know, I'll consider whether getting out's an option for break even. Yeah, reasonable sized channel, so I'd expect something like that. Maybe not quite so much like that. Obviously, this channel was a lot bigger, but I'd expect something like that, smaller correction. Unfortunately, the second part of that correction didn't come down to where I wanted it to, really, to get me in. I wanted to get in below these, really. If price did get below here, then it probably would hit where I had that measured move. So similar scenario here, first break, push up, first break, push up. So I'd like to come down here for the second. So let me just see if there's some support along here, because if there is, you could say 1, 2, 3. So leg and a leg may give us a triple test. We'll see. So on my other chart, Very similar scenario to the other one. That triggered, came down and stopped out. So I wouldn't take that just after a break. I'm not saying it won't work, but I expect so. We had something very similar there, didn't we? As soon as we had that break, we had a couple of bullish bars, triggered, another bullish bar trigger, then straight down and stopped them all out. So I wouldn't expect that one to work. That's this one here. I'm not saying it won't. I suppose I can't see a scenario where that's in the trade. Maybe it is. I don't think so. So let's see what this does now. See if this comes down again. So leg and a leg. If that comes down again and gives us another bounce here, that may interest me. So I wouldn't want to go long from that bar. One, there's no room to the highs. And two, there's some support here. So it looks like we may range. Or looks like there may be a range. So it is, but there's just no room to the highs for me. I mean, we're down and straight up. I'd like to see this come down again, leg and a leg. Trouble is, if it's a really strong market, I mean, after that correction, it just carried on up. It just didn't want to stop. So we've had a break there, and it looks like it's not wanting to stop. But my entry means I've got to come down here. I mean, look at that. Look, straight out, straight up. Man, this market's so bullish today. Unfortunately, there's very little to trade. When I first started trading, I used to hate ranges. Now I love them. I know where I stand. Yeah, I've had that up once or twice. Maybe it is working. Even so, there's no entry there really. So maybe we will have this second leg up. Who knows? What are we? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 points from this overnight. Sorry, all-time highs again. And about a short there. It's a very small bar. 3 ticks. Not often you see a 3-tick bar. 3 ticks. It's almost like no risk at all, really. You could even get it on a limit order if you wanted to and risk 2 ticks. That doesn't often happen. Break. One push up. I'd like to put a second push up to a new high, so I'd expect it to get stopped out. But you'd have probably got that 1-to-1, wouldn't you, I think? Such a strong market, isn't it? I'm not really that comfortable with trading these. Like Mac will talk. Every time it comes back to the EMA, you can almost buy. Sometimes he'll just mark them. I can't trade it that way. No bull buy on that one there, yeah. Trouble is, after a break, I like to just give it a bit of time. I mean, it is strong. So that bar for me is quite a distance there. I wouldn't be shocked if it triggers it out and continues on. I don't know what's going on today. It's not an easy chart to trade today. I've not seen many trades. Yeah, I mean, usually after a break, we'll have two pushes to a new high, but that one for me is a bit vulnerable. It's hanging right in the middle of no man's land a little bit. I haven't seen any trades on. There's been a couple. 5 o'clock. Someone took a trade off the bottom. There's nothing for me, unfortunately, but some people just trade like that's, break and they'll just jump in. I haven't seen many others. I haven't seen a trade Thomas Whaley's taken today. As far as I'm concerned, he's not taken anything. There was a couple who traded. I think it was that bar there, wasn't it? No. Yeah, I think there was a couple who traded that one. That one, there was some trades. It did work in the end. I haven't seen many others. Nothing there for me, unfortunately. I was hoping we'd get a couple of legs, but it's nothing really. It's just a little break and a push-up. What time is it? 5 past 5. How long have we been going? Just over 2.5 hours. Another 10 minutes. Excuse me, I'm done. I'm going out late night shopping tonight. Why would I give up trading when I can be dragged around the shops by two women? Channel was textbook, 2 moves up. The single bar sucks, yeah. It's just nothing here, really, is there? Trouble is, I always look for something like that, 2 moves. But it's such a strong market. It's not getting that. I mean, that second leg there, second leg of that correction didn't get below there before it took off again. From here somewhere, didn't you? Or here? I'm getting bored with this now. 2.5 hours. Massive move. Well, say massive, a reasonable size move, but just no way in, really. I'm not the second one, yeah. That one there, didn't you? Yeah. Not an easy day today. It's the first time for a while I haven't seen Thomas Wade take a trade by now. Okay, I think I'm done, folks. Nothing today. That's 3 days in a row and nothing. I had one trade on an evaluation yesterday, but it's just such a strong market. But it's I don't know. There's just not a lot of places to get in, really. And unless I have a proper setup that I'm comfortable with, I just can't get in, because if I jump in and it stings me, they're the ones I find hard to deal with. But just not a lot, really. There's nowhere in here. They're not for me. I expected that full correction. That's what concerned me. But it did work. Failing that, from a Pat's point of view, on my chart, there's been nothing really. There's quite a lot of sideways and chop. So there's nothing in here really. Nothing there. I mean, overnights are just naff anyway. There's nothing here. It's just not an easy day today. I dare say Mac will find a couple of dozen. He seems to be able to produce something there, but there we go. So I got some late night shopping. This is boring me. It's just, when you just think this is one of those days. Whether we will, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a leg and a leg. We're heading close now. We're about 11 points away from all-time high, so I won't be shocked if we ended up here. But you never quite know what's going to happen. I might look 3 hours later. It could be back down here again. Who knows? So I'm going to leave it at that. So it's been a dry week for me this week so far, but it does happen. But I'm happy. You have more jokes, you can tell. Put them on a postcard, mate. Email them. But yeah, not an easy day today. So if you have taken a trade today, good luck to you. If you've taken a loss, don't worry about it. It does happen. But nothing for me today. So I'm going to go and spend my evening dragged around clothing shops or face cream shops by two women. And as you can hear by my voice, I'm really looking forward to that. So there you go. So yeah, you too, mate. So have a great evening, folks. Best of luck, and I'll catch up with you all tomorrow. Bye for now.